What advice would you have for those open to priesthood or open to married life? And then I'll give some advice.
You know, I always say this about discernment. Ever since discernment's become popular, no one's made a decision.
Yeah, Father Bob Bedard.
So he told you that, you told me that, I say it all the time.
Good.
But I do give you credit. I say, priest told Father,
I stole
Father
it
Matt,
from a saint.
Priest told Matt Fradd once this. I would say that. I'd say that there's a reality that in discernment, there has to be a decision. And the image I always have is, so a lot of times, two images. One is algebra and one is sighting in a gun. So the algebra image is, like I'm looking at this algebra problem and I need to solve for X. Well, there's a Y, there's a Z, there's a W, and like, I just need more data. I actually can't solve for X right now with the amount of data that I have. And so like going on a nun run, visiting a convent, visiting a seminary, whatever that thing is, dating a girl, dating a guy, that is trying to just get more data. And a lot of times, I know for myself, this is what I did. When I went to the seminary, I was putting so much pressure on myself because I heard people say, I showed up at the seminary and I knew.
Yeah.
Or I went to the convent and I was home.
It felt like home.
Yeah, and I was like, that's great. But when I went there, I just was like, okay, this is where you guys live. Okay, and this is what... And when you take the pressure off yourself and realize, okay, I'm just gathering data. Yeah. So as I'm praying, as I'm reading scripture, as I'm visiting places, talking to people, there's no pressure. I'm just gathering data. So I'm solving for X, but I don't know what W is yet. So go to the seminary, like, okay, this is what that's like. Okay, interesting. You can talk to a priest. Okay, that's what this is like. So that's one thing. One, take the pressure off yourself, just gathering data. The second one is, you ever sighted in a gun?
Have I what?
Ever sighted in a gun?
Yes.
So what people might not know is if you're going to go deer hunting or something like this, you typically have a rifle. Right. And the rifle's probably been in storage for a little bit since the last hunting season. So what you typically do a week or 3 before the season opens is you take that rifle to a range and you line it up, you put the crosshairs right on the target, and you don't say, okay, good, we're all good, and walk away. You put it right on the target and you actually have to pull the trigger. And that's the thing people miss. It's like, well, I don't want to do it wrong. Well, no. This isn't opening day. You're not lining up a deer or an elk. Like, you're lining up the target. This is a low-stakes situation.
Yeah.
This is not God calling you to make a leap. This is just take a step, line up on the target in a safe-ish, controlled environment, pull the trigger. Are you off? Great. Make an adjustment. That's the thing, is like so often we get into our minds that like, if I make the wrong decision, it's done. Well, yeah, on opening day, but it's not opening day today. This is your sighting in the gun. So Thomas Aquinas would talk about this, because I know how much you're like him, is he would say like that sense of you line it up, pull the trigger, make an adjustment, line it up, pull the trigger, and that's life.
Yeah, not a direct quote from Aquinas, I don't think. But,
they didn't have rifles back then.
I got advice from a Capuchin bishop once, and I've said it before on the show, but it was so helpful, and I really want everyone to hear this. I was discerning the Capuchins, Franciscan Capuchins, and they're so cool looking, but I was afraid that I was attracted to them because they were cool looking.
Yeah.
And then I once had a Capuchin bishop say to me, without me saying that to him, because I hid that deep in the bowels of my soul, he said, don't be afraid if you're attracted to us because we look cool. He's like, when you're attracted to a woman, it's usually for superficial reasons, and that's good and fine.
Right.
It has to proceed past that. So I just want to say today, like, if there are religious orders here who look cool and that's why you're attracted to them, like, that's okay.
Right, that's okay. Totally.
Isn't that good advice?
It's such good advice. Because again, sometimes we short-circuit the process by saying, well, I'm not starting with a pure intention yet. Oh, well, yeah, you won't.
You never will.
You never, ever will.
Well, you might, but...
Actually...
Okay.
Okay, so I knew a couple that were dating. He proposed to her. In the process of all this happening, he proposes, they're engaged to get married. He says, I don't find her attractive at all.
Yeah.
And he's like, he said,
did you tell her that? Or?
Well, he said, but I know that like she's such a good heart. She has such a, she's a noble person. So if I was a noble person, it shouldn't matter that I'm not attracted to her. Like the idea of kissing her doesn't like appeal to me at all.
Yes.
But I should be such a good man that doesn't matter. No. And thankfully, thanks be to God that that did not happen. That they broke up, and it was awesome. He's married, she's married to other people who do find them attractive, and that's the great news.
That's way good.
But that sense of like, he thought, no, if I was noble enough,
I would find the ugliest, most annoying woman.
No, he thought she was
great
character. He shouldn't be attracted to her external. Like, no, that's part of marriage. Is
Yes.
not only an attraction to the person, but to the person, because we're body and soul. You know.
Hey, thank you so much for watching. Before you go, do us a favor, leave a comment, let us know what you thought of the video, like, and subscribe.